you could just murmur your mouth while we Nigerians, proud Nigerians, take of the second stanza of the national anthem. So please, let's be up standing as we take the national anthem. The second stanza, "O God of creation." I would actually like maybe someone in our midst, one of our guests, can lead us through this session. Sir, can you please come? Thank you, please. Let's have you. Please, let's put our hands together for this gentleman. It's more like a national prayer now. We pray and believe that things will get better for this nation, Nigeria, by His special grace. You can come. You can come up. Good morning, everyone. I actually want to check it out. Yeah. If I'm to sing it, I might be able to sing it, but if I'm to recite it, I might miss the line. So, in order to make it easier. Alright, so. Back up some bass and some treble. Alright, so we can go now. "O God of creation." Are we singing it? Oh, okay. "O God of creation, guide our leaders right, help us to the truth to know, love and honesty to grow and live in just and true. Great love the eyes attain to build a nation where peace and justice shall. Amen. To be the nation where justice shall reign. That's our national prayer now. We pray God help us in this in Jesus' name. And in the name of the Almighty Allah. Yes, because the truth is, we're having a national safety, food and safety summit. Safety in this nation, Nigeria, now has become a problem. In every sphere of life, in any way and factor we can ever imagine. So this summit will help us get to know better how much we should take safety into cognizance and don't play with it. A lot of us in this nation, Nigeria, we don't take safety seriously. As a matter of fact, we don't. Are there policemen here? Are there policemen here? Why I'm saying this, because safety is so bad now in this country that I got to the police station at some point in my life, maybe last year. I went to write statement, I went to make a complaint, and then 4 hefty guys got into the police station with some machetes and cutlass and what have you. A police station be this. What came out of the DPO's mouth was, "Oga, no, na business center, you won't make call?" And I knew we're not safe. Well, God will help us again, once again. Right now, I want to have a safety talk, brief safety talk from one of the staff of RCL. He's the National Training Coordinator of RCL. He's going to give us a brief talk. So please, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished audience, allow me to introduce to you Mr. Caro Diamond. Please put your hands together for Mr. Caro. Yes, the technical, please, you could help us with bringing out the music, the background.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ogele Caro. Don't say Caro. Ogele Caro Diamond. And I come from the Caro, not Caro. I come from the very wonderful state of Georgia. Okay. As it is every safety gathering or meeting, there's a need for us to understand the basic fundamentals that will guide our behavior. And what of such is that wherever there is an issue that does not conform to the standard of this system, we need to raise an alarm. Now, one of these could be fire or any other emergency-related situation. In case there is a fire outbreak anywhere from the socket, extension, or the please do not say fire. As your brother you are, please shout fire. Let us know we are not safe. Okay? Please don't just say fire. I beg of you. In Abuja conference, we had something similar, and I was trying to let them know that you should shout fire. And the guy said, I cannot be shout. I'm not shouting. I said, mother, you have to shout. The lights are at stake here. Okay. Now the restroom is towards the axis. You just this is the restroom, and then you access the restroom. Okay. The tea break will come in after 1 or 2 petitions. Can go out there in an orderly manner, take a tea break, and then we'll come back in. Now the essence of this tea break is not for us to just go and do it and go away. We should need to network in those few hours or a few minutes we spend together. Are we together? It's also important that we know that while going through these doors, please, it's a swing door, so you push it towards the direction of flow, okay? For easy access. Do not try to force it towards yourself.
So that was a brief safety talk. Please, when there is fire, shout fire, fire. Not the prayer fire, the danger fire. You see, danger is something that we always want to avert, and by the special grace of God, we'll keep averting them in this nation, Nigeria, and things will be peaceful once again by His grace. So we have some very wonderful personalities in our midst. Before I recognize them or call them up to give us some goodwill messages, we want to say a big thank you to partners, people who have supported this very summit. We want to recognize and say a very big thank you to the National Council of Nigeria, the NISCN. Please put your hands together for them. We also want to say a very big thank you to Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Council, FCCPC. Please put your hands together for them. We want to say thank you to NAFDAC, the National Agency for Food, Drug Administration and Control. Please put your hands together for them. SOM, the Standard Organization of Nigeria. Please put your hands together for them. The Federal Ministry of Health. Please put your hands together for them. The last but not the least, the Lagos State Safety Commission. Please put your hands together for them. I want to bring quickly up on the podium to give us a very wonderful good message. It is from a mama extraordinaire, permit me to use that word, very beautiful, loving mother, wife, sister, energetic, educative personnel. Please put your hands together as I make welcome the former DG, Lagos State Safety Commission, none other but Mrs. Dominga Olubumi. Please put your hands together for her.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a little bit on the spot, because I was expecting that we would have Mr. Otubai give us welcome first. But as you have, I'm not doing the welcome, so we'll still put together a welcome from Mr. Otubai. But it's my great honor to be here with you, and of course to support this beautiful topic. I believe that it's very apt and it's very essential. My name is Dominga Odebumi, and I'm actually the Pioneer Director General for Lagos State Commission. And thank you very much. Thank you, I appreciate it. The reason why I mentioned Pioneer was because after me we've had 3 Director Generals, so which of them would be this former DG? So, and also, just to add a little spice to it, the up-to-date, the only woman Director General of the Lagos State Commission. So I think the ladies, we should give ourselves a bigger round of applause. Thank you very much. So I thought I'll bring in that lighter mood. It's interesting that food safety, I was having a little chat with Mr. Jua just as we sat there, and it's interesting that food safety is actually not on the front burner, and for so many reasons. When I started the commission, it was an uphill task, and I'm sure you know, if there's anyone that would understand actually starting anything in any establishment, not to talk of in the government. This is an agency that was very essential, that was very controversial to some people. They felt that it was on the exclusive list, and so it should be federal government. So how dare Lagos State come up with a commission that would address safety. Lo and behold, Lagos State is the commercial nerve of Nigeria. It houses, it accommodates, it provides opportunity for over 20 million human beings, which is in a sense a size of another country. And if there are lacking things, things that would affect this population, it will affect the entire nation. And of course, the governor that we had then had his onions very cut out. Of course, he took it to court and he established the fact that there was a need that safety of human lives and properties cannot be held by one unit, which is the federal government. It would have to be done by everybody. The federal government cannot ensure the safety of every soul individually, just by itself. It needs to understand the needs of people in the area of safety, the concerns, as it happens in each state, and as it happens in each local government, and the grassroots. So we all needed to come together to make sure that everybody's safety is ensured. And so the House of Assembly, we had quite a number of those, papers being presented to make sure that it actually had a legal standing. The commission started with the Office of Public Safety under the governor's unit, which is the Ministry of Special Duties. But it needed to have a legal backing. Because it was like a proposal, and I just looked at everything. He said, yes, we would enlighten. When you say Office of Public Safety, that's focusing on enlightenment. That's focusing on saying that this is an initiative, a good to go, a good to have. But it doesn't show the seriousness behind it. Because human beings will err. It is for us to make mistakes. But there are consequences of mistakes. Now, imagine that there are issues all around with the safety issues. I'm not going to go into the kind of safety issues we had when we first started. But the long and short of it is that we've come a long way, and more lives, believe it or not, have been saved, especially school children. That was the highlight of it there. It was like a pandemic. It was an epidemic of having school children drop in. Imagine things like kids latrines in schools as far back as 2010. Because that's actually when we started the Safety Commission. The law came out in 2011. The concept of getting this across actually started as far back as 2006. And that's how that legwork had been going on before it finally came to the understanding of executive councils. So good things sometimes don't come very quickly. But stick in there if you believe in it. It will eventually make a way for itself. And in the long run, and it's really for the good and the good of everybody. So really, that's a little background of the Lagos State Safety Commission. But the little background of myself and why I'm actually supporting Mr. Odua very strongly on this. I've left the commission. I'm the CEO and Principal Consultant of Safety Plus Engineering Services. And of course we've been in that business for over 30 years. And I know that some form of support, experience, and whatever we can to do to drive and bring this in the forefront. I made a reference to imagining why food safety has always been in the backbone. My first and second degree are actually in food science and technology. And of course, I then moved into food safety regulations, regulatory practices, food and consumer studies, understanding why people make choices of the kind of food that we make those choices. Now, food in itself is not just the physical food that we see. It's anything that is edible that you put in your mouth and goes into your stomach. to add value to your body, to your physical well-being, to your health. So imagine including water. Water is food. And of course, I'm sure that the chemists amongst us will understand once you put H2O together, it becomes water. So food is a chemical component as well. And so these things are interwoven. When we talk about food, we talk about human being. We talk about how we operate. We relate it to what affects us, what we expose ourselves to. So food is the fundamental thing that really should be the number one priority, because we are what we eat. If you eat right, you live right. If you eat well, you will most likely, you would relate well, you would travel well, you will be healthier, your medical issues will be reduced. Now what we have is actually a lot of transformation that is bringing food to the front burner, but digitally. And I say digitally because the world is moving from the traditional food. The world is moving closer to things like, I don't know if there are food experts here, the world is moving towards GM foods, genetically modified. The world is moving to plant-based protein food. So why are we going slowly in that direction? Does that mean that what the animal-related food that we're eating is unhealthy? No, we've abused it. So we really need to move fast with the world. And more importantly, the reason why we're exploring all these avenues around food is the fact that there is an issue with food security. Food is not enough, because human beings are increasing and we are not allowing food to grow or to move to the right places accordingly. There are wars that bring issues around the transportation of food. There are wars, there are conflicts that are affecting us to even grow the food. So I'll just leave us with this food of thought at this moment, just to whet our appetite and help us to understand why we're doing food safety. It's very fundamental. And I hope I've been able to kind of open our minds up. It's not a welcome address, but at least help us to really listen more to this welcome and to all the other speakers that will be coming. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Dominga Odebumi. Moving forward, I want to call on the Chief Executive Officer, RCL Safety Center, to give us the opening remarks. Please, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together as I may welcome Mr. Jude Odua.
Good morning, everybody. We see all him balance. They just murdered my name. So my name is not Jude. Your balance 10% less. You know? All right. So good morning, everybody. And we are happy to welcome you to the Lagos version of the National Food Safety Summit. Now, who we are pretty much a small industrial and hazardous safety company. And then we have ventured into food safety training and consulting services. And this we do as a result of the gaps that we see exist in this country as a whole. Now, safety is one of those professions that, first of all, is guided by your conscience, the money comes second. You know, but sometimes I ask myself, I hope I'm doing the right thing. Because other professions, money comes first and then conscience follows. But safety is the other way around. Anyways, but sometimes you find fulfillment that the impact you have created and how much you can save people's lives. Take for instance, one of the partners that we have says to us that, oh, your proposal has come late. What if we wait till next year? And then we sat down and said, okay, next year, that's like 365 days away, all right? So let's take a statistics that one person falls ill as a result of foodborne disease, for instance. That means in one, you have like 365 people fall ill before next year. So, and then if the number turns to 10, that means it's 10 times 365. If the number is 100, it's 100 times 365. So, how do we do? So we said, oh, I think we leave it in the board and do it as we could. Anyways, so let me not bore you much. Again, welcome. And food safety pretty much is everybody's business because we all eat, we all drink, and we all make merry. But we want to do that and go home and be okay. We want to remain a healthy nation. I think Nigeria will have enough problems. And the least we can do is to add to it. If you give your soldier the best guns in the world or the best armor in the world, and he cannot operate because he has to go to the bathroom every second, then those are the ways you really can't win the wars you're fighting. You know, so unlike the food people will say, if it's not safe, then it's not even food. So no matter how much portion you serve him, and if it's not safe to eat, it's not food. That means you're giving him poison. So what we try to do is to bring us together and teach us how we can operate better. Then on the business side, I'm from the eastern part of Nigeria and we like to do business plenty. You know, so if you have a biscuit factory, I think your end game is to look at the bigger market, which is West African market. And in addition to that, if you cultivate palm fruit or tomato, whatever you produce, and you want to look at the bigger export market, part of the criteria you need to look at is also how do you grow, how do you package, how do you export. So all of these also boils down on food safety, that if you don't operate safely, then you can't even export. Your produce won't even be acceptable. Even if your dream is to supply to the smallest chain of stores, you know, ShopRite and the rest of them, then you have to be able to do have a good manufacturing, you know, practice for you to be able to be acceptable. Otherwise, you remain a small, you know, peasant farmer. You go and then eat by yourself or sell in the open market. But we are looking at people who are looking at much larger pictures. So again, we welcome you, and then we wish you happy learning today. And part of what we are adding, the value we're adding, is that for corporations that have larger establishments and locations also, we have developed electronic platforms that will help you to manage that and help you also to standardize your training across board if you have operations in some non-safe locations that you find hard to send your trainers over. And you can also have the same type of training stabilized or standardized around your locations. If you have 40 locations, if you have 10, if you have 100, and the rest of them, so you can maintain your standard. So part of this platform we have developed, and that comes to you at really very little or even at no cost to make sure that you add value to that. So once again, thank you, and I'm happy you're here. Have a wonderful learning.
Thank you, Mr. Joe Odua. Please put your hands together once again for him so that my balance will be complete. Okay, so he said something that was worthy of note. He said, imagine our fighters, the soldiers. I just pictured soldiers fighting Boko Haram and they gave them some very delicious beans. I wonder how, you know, when beans wants to do what it wants to do in your body, and then probably the enemy is advancing forward, and no vex, and they come, my rich bush. You know, so food safety is key. Food safety is very, very important, and we should take note of that. And he also said something that the training has now been digitized, so you can maintain same standards, and like Mommy said, the world is moving towards, it's moving towards IT level vastly. So there's nothing as good as when you can have a particular thing done at different locations with same standard, effectively, efficiently. You don't have to start paying for hotel accommodation, travel fees, and all of that to get your personnel trained. So once again, kudos to RCL, and hopefully we'll get to learn much after now. Well, we have another goodwill message from one of the representatives of the World Safety Organization. And this time around, I want to believe I will pronounce the name properly. Please put your hands together as I make welcome Mr. Abayowa. I hope I pronounced it correctly. Please keep clapping for Mr. Abayowa.
Thank you for not murdering my name. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. My name is Emmanuel Abayowa from World Safety Organization. By the way, that was a wonderful charge, man. How is Mr. Tokumo? I've been to your office most times. We engaged, but most times I've not met you around. But there are three basic needs of man. Who can remind me? Food, shelter, and clothing. So the first thing you mentioned was what? Food. So the truth about food is there's no person on this earth that does not take food. So, and that is why it's so essential for us that we don't just look at what we ingest in, but how safe it is. I remember I was in a gathering and we were to eat, and someone said, this is poison. And the person that brought the food said, no, I didn't put poison inside the food. Now, obviously, the person producing the food does not know that the fact that the food is not produced in an hygienic way already is no longer food. It becomes poison. It's no longer food if it doesn't do your body any major good. If it doesn't become a nutrient, it becomes a poison. So it's essential for us, for those of us that are producers, and those that are also into, marketing, and to the end of those that consume it, to look at how safe the food is. Right now, there's been an increased rate of cancer. And one of the major, I'm not saying only food results into that, but one of the major reasons why there's a prevalence of cancer right now is because of the kind of food we take in. Now, when food are produced, for those of us who are in the food industry, part of the things we also need to enlighten ourselves about is, are we following international standards? The average Nigerian just wants to eat, let my belly be filled, and I'm okay. Let me have my 3 square meals. That's even if you have 3 square meals. So some people don't even have the 3 square meals, and the advantage they have by just having food, something inside the plate for them to eat, they don't look at how hygienic it is. They just want to eat. And of what essence is it that you are eating, and you spend the whole time going to the toilet. So I want our orientation to change from the essence of just, okay, I take breakfast, I take lunch, I take my dinner. Like Madam was talking about, it has gone beyond the essence of, let me just eat food. How hygienic is the food to us? We've abused food and we don't know we've abused it. Because the essence is, in those days, you categorize someone that has a bowl of meat on his table, and you think, wow, this man is a rich man. Meanwhile, the man is killing himself. Like now, you discover that there's been an increased rate of, encouragement to go towards the veggies, fruits and veggies. But now we also discover in recent times that even some of our vegetables and our fruits, the way they are produced, or the way they are delivered to us, there are some safety guidelines that we try to avoid. I'm not saying a working man by the roadside should not sell me apples or pineapples. Rather than go to the mall to go and pick it up, if I want to use an Aboki guide, how am I sure that what they are delivering to me is not washed inside the gutter? Because you see, a rich man comes with his jeep and parks beside an Aboki man and say, hey, Aboki, give me my usual. You get pawpaw, you get pineapple, you get apple, you get all you want. And it also comes to your mind that, is what I'm eating safe? It looks like it, but how am I sure it is safe? So I think the essence is, I know someone is doing a lot of work, NAFDAC is doing a lot of work, but as professionals, part of our job is not just to produce food, but to also make sure that the end users get them in an hygienic manner. So I think this summit is here to stir our minds. Look at areas where Nigeria in terms of quantity, we are not doing so well, but at the same time, I think we also need to put a top notch on our quality checks to the food we take in. Quality checks is quite important. You can actually be eating food in large quantities, but the nutrients it gets to your body might be so minute. So we need to start looking into what value do I derive from what I'm eating, not just in terms of quantity. Now, if I have a plate of eba in front of me, and there's little protein, there's little, other vitamins that are attached to what I'm eating. Of course, I just gave myself a whole weight of baggage to eat without necessarily doing nourishment to my body. So what I'm saying in essence is, let us put more value, or let's put greater attention to nutritional values of food than just the quantity that is made available to us that is ingested. Now, you also need to look into your fats and oils. Issues about cholesterol coming, there have been so many diseases that are food related. How do we as professionals come in as manufacturers, come in as stakeholders, and even as consumers to look at what we take in? So I want to tell your mind, this program is just starting, broadening your mind. There are so many things you can learn from this summit that I also know that you can take home and also take to your companies. And I believe at the end of the day, it will be better for us for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Abayowa, for that. The representing the Director General Legal Safety Commission, and she's very much in our presence. She'll be giving us the goodwill message from the DG. Please, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together as I make welcome Engineer Odufuwa Adedoyin.
Good morning, everyone. Permit me to stand on the well-established and NISCN protocol.
Mic check.
Good morning, everyone. Permit me to stand on the well-established and NISCN protocol. My name is Engineer Odufuwa. I work with the Legal Safety Commission, Food Safety Department precisely. But I would like to say a big thank you to the former Director General of the Legal Safety Commission, Mrs. Dominga, established speech gift. Thank you so much. She left a good legacy in Safety Commission, which we are still living on. It's a pleasure. Thank you, ma'am. So unfortunate that my DG is not here today, since I'm sending apologies on his behalf. Thank you so much. Congratulations to the management of the Health Safety Center for achieving a great such milestone. Our Safety Center has been at the forefront for projecting the voice and work of safety research in the last decade. It's a pleasure and joy associating with the Health Safety Center. Understanding food hygiene is more than cleanliness, but also to prevent food contamination, foodborne disease, harmful bacteria, and poison in food bodies. Having a good safety management system in place will help to prevent
all these diseases, but also reduction in insurance premium, reduction in foodborne diseases, and mostly foodborne diseases in infants. Finally, I would like to encourage all food owners, all food vendors, restaurant owners, stakeholders to please to endeavor to have a good safety management system in place. A good safety management system in place with leadership commitment. Because when there is a leadership commitment, safety becomes a culture in every organization. I wish everyone a successful deliberation in this year's summit. Thank you.
Engineer Udufua for that. I noticed something, Pioneer DG, the lady, rep, the lady, and then I decided to ask, generally, between men and women, who cooks the most? Or who cooks the better meal? Ma? Sir? Men. Men, women. Okay, between men and women, who delays the most cooking? Huh? Women are cooks, men are chefs. So we are the packaged version. Okay, thank you very much. So right now we're moving straight to one of our lectures for today. And this is on the topic food safety, the role of FCCPC. She giving us the talk is none other but the Assistant Director of Quality Assurance and Development Personnel in that department from the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, to give us this wonderful talk for the next couple of minutes, please put your hands together as I make welcome Mrs. Brima. A round of applause for her as she comes to give us a talk on food safety, the role of FCCPC.
I wish you called the main name. To know that I just called Mrs. Brima. Thank you. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to start with food safety is all our responsibility. Food safety is key. I'm representing Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission. I'm here to talk on the role of Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission on food safety. Next slide, please. About FCCPC and its operation. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission is the foremost competition and consumer protection authority in Nigeria. The commission was established by the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Act 2018 to, among others, develop and promote fair, efficient, and competitive markets in the Nigeria economy, to facilitate access by all citizens to safe products and secure the protection of rights for all consumers in Nigeria. Some key areas of operation of the FCCPC. We have the complaint resolution to aggrieve consumers to get redress. So when you complain, you always get redress. Surveillance and Enforcement Department. We have the Surveillance and Enforcement Department. This department removes substandard products and services from the market. There's a key area of operation, which is the quality assurance and development, to ensure consumers have safe access to products and services. Also, we have the Consumer Education Department. This department educates consumers on their rights and responsibilities. Then also we have the Research and Strategy, which collates data for annual progress reports and policy making. I have a added job to us, which is the anti-competition, which provides a level playing ground for businesses to thrive. So, down to food safety. What is food safety? Food safety refers to routines in preparation, handling, and storage of food meant to prevent foodborne illnesses and injury. Food safety involves practices of preserving the quality of food to prevent contamination and foodborne illnesses. Also, food safety is an important aspect of food production and handling. as it ensures that health and safety of consumers are protected from any food-related issues. Food safety requires a steady farm-to-table effort. That is, food safety starts right from the farm. It starts from planting your food back to the table of the consumers. Food safety is a shared responsibility. It's not just for me, it's for you and I. Everybody in the value chain is a shared responsibility and a collective effort from all members of the food supply chain. How to improve and maintain food safety? To improve and maintain food safety, we need to develop good agricultural practices. We need to develop good manufacturing practices. We need to develop good distribution practices, good storage practices, and the remaining prerequisite programs to cover the farm-to-table spectrum, and also a very, very important point, the good consumer practices. How to improve the food safety? Good consumer practices. What are good consumer practices? You ask me. Good consumer practices are those things that drive food safety. They are the things we must do, you and I. There are things we must do to ensure food safety. These include purchasing only what you need. You don't just go to the market and just buy everything. With the issue of light in Nigeria today, you tell me that you don't need to buy too much. Just only buy what you need so that you can, preserve them. Also, buy quality and safe products. When purchasing products in the market, you need to check them if they are of good quality. You can check the date markings. You can check from let's say those that don't have good that don't have date markings. You can check the packaging. You can check if it's fresh. Also, dispose less waste. You have to know how to dispose your waste. You don't just throw things around, because it should be like agents of contamination. And also protect the environment. When you protect the environment, the future generations are going to enjoy it. Why food safety is important? Food safety is crucial to protect consumers from health risks related to common allergens and foodborne illnesses. Food safety boosts consumer confidence, thereby increasing public confidence in modern food systems and food processing. Food safety protects consumers from losses and give value for money. When you are sick, when you are not eating right, you fall sick. When you don't eat food, safe food, you fall sick. And you end up in the hospital. You spend a lot on hospital bill. Are you having value for your money? No. So we have to eat safe. We have to eat healthy food. We have to protect ourselves. Food safety, there are hazards that causes food safety issues. What are those hazards? Hazards are any agents with the potential to cause adverse health consequences for consumers. Food safety hazard occurs when food is exposed to hazardous agents which result in contamination of that food. Hazard may be introduced at any time into the food supply chain. It might be during harvesting, it might be during formulation, it might be during processing, it might be during packaging, labeling, transportation, distribution, preparation, even serving. It can be introduced at any time. Food safety hazards, we have some food hazards that cause food safety issues. We have the biological hazards, which include your bacteria, viruses, parasites, which are of public health significance. Also, we have the chemical hazards. You have the mycotoxins, you have the pesticides, the veterinary drug residues. They also cause hazards. If a farmer doesn't put his pesticide, if he doesn't spray his pesticide right, if he doesn't follow the rules of the labeling on how to apply his pesticide, it can cause issues. Physical hazard, insects, hair, metal fragments, pieces of plastic, wood chips, and glass. They are also food hazards. Then allergens. There are natural allergens in food. There are some people who allergens affect, that their body doesn't take, their immune system, they react to it. For example, some people don't take nuts. When you know nuts is not good for you, keep away from it. Some people are lactose intolerant. If you know it's not good for you, keep away from it. Those are some of those hazards that cause food safety issues. So that's why you have to read labels. When purchasing some of all those things, you have to check. If that thing you react to is there, keep away from it, don't buy. There are other factors that of potential hazard in food also. Improper agricultural practices. From the seed you plant to the soil, they must be of good quality. Poor hygiene at all stages of food chain. You have to keep good hygiene practices in all stages of food chain. Contaminated raw materials, ingredients, and water. You have to source for your raw materials from good places. They must be of good quality, because if your raw materials is bad, the food definitely will not be good. You must get good potable water while preparing your food. Inadequate or improper storage. You must store your food at the right temperature. If they say, and there's one important fact, there are some people that just store their cooked food and raw food together, which is very, very bad. You have to separate your cooked food from your raw food, because there are some bacteria in that raw food that will, that will contaminate that cooked food. So you must follow the proper storage process, in an aerated storage place. You have to follow the rules. If they say store in -2 degrees centigrade, do that. If they say store at 10 degrees centigrade, follow the instructions for you to have safe food. Then adulteration. You have to check for that. Is a very important point. So food safety, the consumer and FCCPC. What my commission has been doing. Who is a consumer? A consumer is an end user of a product or a service. As consumer, we have rights and responsibilities, which we must follow. Consumer rights, right to safety. This is a right that expects that food they purchase and consume will be of good quality and safe for their intended use. The right to choose. A consumer has a right to choose. A consumer has a right to choose from a wide range of varieties of products. So you have to choose. Don't go to the market and the man say, oh, now this one you go buy by force, and you buy it when you know it's not good because you say buy it. There are a lot of different ranges. Choose what you want. You have the right to make a choice. Also, right to information. Proper information on the product to enable consumers make informed choices. For example, a food can be safe, but it's not properly labeled, it can be wrongly used. For example, when you are buying a product, it's not properly labeled, and you don't know how to use it, leave it, go for another product, because labels are very important. Because some label will tell you the process of use, it will tell you the storage conditions on how to preserve that product. So it's very important to read labels. And also, label can show you the list of ingredients also, something you are reacting to and it's there. When you read the label and it's there, you keep away from that product. You go for other ones that you know you're not going to react to. The right to redress. Consumers have the right to seek redress. Complain. Consumers don't complain, no. When you have issues with products and maybe you have complained to that manufacturer and he's not doing anything about it, come to FCCPC. We are always there for consumers, because consumer is the king. Consumer responsibility. Just as we have rights, consumers also have responsibility. Consumers should be alert to the quality and safety of food they purchase and assert their right in case of infringement. Consumers are expected to follow storage and processing direction for products they purchase. Just as I've spoken before, you have to follow direction of use. Don't skip anyone because you're in a hurry to prepare that food. Follow instructions is very, very important. It's key. Participation of consumers towards food safety is also seen through their demand for high quality. When you demand for high quality, you get high quality products. But when you want to look for the low quality product, the manufacturers always give you that. So when we demand for such, you get quality, safe products. And you voice your complaint if there are issues on food safety. And also, FCC ensure food safety by carrying out inspections of factories, warehouses, eateries to ensure compliance to food safety standards. We carry out surveillance and enforcement activities on food products in the market, supermarkets, to ensure food sold to consumers meet required standards. We also conduct workshops and seminars to create awareness. Awareness is key. We have vendors on food safety issues. Conduct quality tests. Sometimes you go to the market, we pick samples, we take them to the lab and check if what they're giving to consumers is of good quality. These we compel those manufacturers to adhere to standard and specification. Then collaborate with relevant agencies, just as we are doing with RCL safety, with SON standard, and development partners in ensuring food safety. We provide speedy redress to consumer complaints through negotiation, mediation, and reconciliation. We inspect markets, supermarkets, factories, bakeries, warehouses, abattoirs, eateries to check compliance with regulatory requirements. We engage supermarket owners and market heads. When we visit the market and supermarket, maybe we see that things are not done in the right way. We invite those heads because sometimes you cannot be in all the markets. Sometimes you cannot speak to all the sellers in the market. So we bring out their heads, we invite them. Because in the market you see that the fixed section have heads, the mid section have heads. So we pick them all around like that. We get a hall, get a forum, we share issues, we discuss. We tell them things all this we have seen in the market. This is how we want it for consumers to be safe. And we go back to check if those things we complained about have been complied to. Analysis of consumer products to assess quality and verify manufacturer claims. Sometimes you pick products in the market, they'll tell you that there's no cholesterol in this oil. Or they'll tell you that there's no this in these products. We pick some of those samples. We take them to the lab to really check. These claims they are saying, or they'll say, this Coke is low sugar, or this malt is low sugar. We check these things to check, to know whether what the claims they have made on those products are really true. Also, FCCPC is responsible in monitoring of the quality and quantity of micronutrients. That's fortification. We do that at the household level, SON does that at the factory level, NAFDAC does that at the market level. So everybody has the level who does the fortification. Food vehicles like salt, vegetable oil, flour, and sugar. Sensitization of stakeholders. We sensitize farmers, especially when it's planting season. We call them, we sensitize them, do this right. Don't just go to the farm and spray all the whole pesticide you have, just for you to achieve great farming season. No. You have to follow rules and regulations. We tell them about storage. Don't use chemicals to store your product for you to stay long in the storage houses. We provide public advisory for consumers. Advisory, if you go to our website, you see some of those advisories. For example, there are some on use of snipers to store beans. There are some on using carbides to ripen fruits and vegetables. There are advice because consumers need to know that those things, those chemicals are very, very bad to the body. They can cause health issues. Surveillance and enforcement department on expired food. We visit the market when we've done our review check and we see that some products are being sold and they are expired. We flush them out of the market. So there is need for capacity building in food safety, in keeping with the main principle that every improvement can be shaped around people's skills and expertise. We need to promote the development of competencies and capacity building in food safety from farm to table to create a consistent and effective global food system. Capacity building will provide us the opportunity to enhance the food safety, the multitude of food produced in the country and those imported out of the country. When we follow the rules and regulations, our products going outside the country will not be rejected. Regulatory agencies will also expand their technical, scientific, and regulatory capacity for effective regulations. Harmonization of activities of players in the food chain. This is very important. We need to work together to achieve the same goal. Ensure prompt and adequate information sharing among relevant regulatory agency and food safety issues. When my work starts, another one begins. So we have to work together as a collaborative effort. Increase awareness of the principle of food safety to make informed choices can save everyone from any inconveniences they might bring. All of the members of the food supply chain must comply with established standards and legislation to maintain food safety. There are standards that manufacturers, SUN standards, there are NAFDAC guidelines you need to follow to achieve food safety when manufacturing any food products. Training of food handlers on principles, new trends. There are new trends every day in food manufacturing. You have to train your food handlers on how to ensure food safety. In conclusion, let's all be aware of the health risks associated with unsafe food and make an informed decision. It's very important. Safe and nutritious food is key to sustaining life and promoting good health. When you eat safe food, I bet you won't visit the doctor and you have value for your money. Food that isn't safe to eat can hurt your health in many ways, so it's best to be cautious and knowledgeable. These are our contacts. You can reach us in any of these social media platforms. Thank you for listening.
Put your hands together for her.
Please, can we get our contacts?
Ma, they are requesting for your contact. So, it is food safety is actually something for everybody. So, while listening to her, I got to find out that it is not just the vendors, not just the consumers, not just the manufacturers, not just the handlers, not just the agency. It is a collaborative effort of everybody. It can only be done for us, by us. So we need to take these things seriously. We need to be very keen at what we bring out there or what we consume for everyone here present. And may the Lord help us to improve our safety measures. The next segment is a tea break. We would quietly and in a safety manner, feel free to walk out and have yourself a tea break. The break is slated for 30 minutes, probably because of time, it might be lesser than that. If you have questions, please write out your questions towards the end of the program. All questions will be duly addressed.
Don't worry.
Organization of Nigeria, and we have in our midst the Chief Technical Officer for Food Codex of Standard Organization of Nigeria. He's going to be taking us through the lecture or talk for the role of standards in food safety. And to do this talk is none other than Mr. James Adebola David. Please put your hands together for him. He is the Chief Technical Officer, Food/Codex of the Standard Organization of Nigeria. Once again, welcome Mr. James Adebola David.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, Mr. James.
It's my pleasure to be here. And with me is Mr. Smith Njoku. Please permit me to stand on the existing protocol. Yes, I'm essentially a food safety auditor, a lead auditor in food safety. So Role of standard in food safety. That's what we have before us. Madam from Federal has done a lot, and I wish I had the authority to take offering. I would have loved to take offering from her because she took part of my presentation. Okay. Standard Organization of Nigeria. Standard Organization of Nigeria, SON, was established by the Enabling Act, number 56 of 1971. And I've had the Organization of Nigeria was established by the Enabling Act, number 56 of 1971. And I've had several amendments in which the current is the Act number 14 of 2015. And some of the functions of Standards Organization of Nigeria. Number one is to designate and approve standards. Number two, SON is responsible for quality assurance of product, service, and system. Yes, we also provide conformity assessment services to ensure that locally manufactured products and imported products meet up with the minimum quality requirement under our MANCAP and SENCAP scheme. Part of our activity is also metrology inspection, testing, and certification of product or system. Yes, we also play the advising role by advising government at all levels on matter relating to standardization. Food that is wholesome and does not exceed an acceptable level of risk associated with pathogenic organisms or chemicals and physical hazard is known as safe food. Now, when we talk about safe food, our madam said from farm to table, but now it has gone beyond table. All right, I'm sorry. I thought my voice would be able to reach everywhere because I have a bembe voice. But let me just raise it up a little. All right, so from farm to table, but now it is no longer from farm to table. It is from farm to where? Oh, thank you. So an estimated 600 million, almost 1 in 10 people in the world fall ill after eating contaminated food, and 420,000 people die every year. That's a lot. There are about 48 million cases of foodborne illness every year. In Nigeria, foodborne illnesses cause over 200,000 deaths annually. Wow. That's a lot. Food safety and the evolving world. Safe food supply affects national economy. Yes or no? Yes. National trade and tourism. I don't know anybody that wants to visit a state that is having issue with cholera. Okay? Sustainable development. Introduction to food safety risk. Risk is a function of probability of an adverse health effect and the severity of that effect consequential to an hazard in food. A risk is the consequence of a hazard which includes diarrhea, cancer, allergic reaction, death. These are the things that you expect when somebody, when safe food is consumed. Safe food will lead to cancer. Safe food will lead to what? to diarrhea. Unsafe food rather will lead to what? Allergic reaction. Unsafe food will also lead to what? To death. So if you have risk, what do you do with the risk? Sorry, listening, I'm not sure. Okay, what do you do with the risk? Do you transfer it? Do you reduce the risk? Do you accept the risk? Or do you avoid it? For our women, can you avoid not to be pregnant? It's a risk. Pregnancy is a risk. But if you avoid that risk, there will be, if our mummies have avoided it, there will be no you and I. Now, there are some assets that are inherent in some products, that there is no amount of treatment that will remove that asset. No, Madam mentioned one. Peanut, for example, granite, cashew nut, there are allergies, soya oil, milk, even chicken. I know some of us love chicken. Even chicken produces allergic reaction. Milk, almond, all those things. What do you do with it? In fact, when my boss traveled to Kenya, he said each time they are going out to have some granite, the woman in Kenya will say, let us go and have some aflatoxin. Because each time you eat or consume granite, you are consuming an hazard called aflatoxin. So what do you do with the risk? Let's continue. Okay. The cause of food contamination. Okay. Cause of food contamination can either be what? Physical, chemical, or biological. When we mean biological, that's the microbiological, that's food contamination. So we'll see examples now of physical hazard. Okay, physical contaminants, stones, broken glasses, electric bulbs. That's why when we go to a company, we ensure that if they have bulb like this, there must be a receptacle to receive pieces of glasses in case of shattering. Okay? Jewelry, hair, wool, pieces of wood, fingernails, buttons, pen tops, plasters, nuts. There was a particular company that is into production of sausage. So I think they use all these hand gloves. So after some time, pieces of hand glove was found in the product, and there was somebody picked it up from outside and made a complaint. In fact, they were sued. And the person claimed that what he saw inside the product is not ordinary rubber, but condom. So it became an issue. Nuts, bolts, screws for machinery or equipment, insects, their eggs and droppings. I know some of us, we enjoy when Iyasikira, help us to use our grinding machine to grind our pepper, But each time you grind your pepper like that, you are eating your pepper in conjunction with iron filings. That's why Yoruba says, Ikunjogede, Ikumiredi, Ikuma, Bentodum, no shekini. Sorry. That is, the squirrel love to eat sweet things, and when they eat, they shake their bum and shake it very well, not realizing that sweet things has ability, propensity to kill somebody very, very fast. All right. Okay. Examples of chemical contaminants. Cleaning chemicals. When you go to a company where they produce yogurt, for example, they do what is called C-high-P. Use of sodium hydroxide. If you use sodium hydroxide to clean your line without rinsing properly, what you get at the end of the day is a what? A product that is partially, mixed with what? Sodium hydroxide. Unapproved or excess industrial processing chemical. You have heard that sodium benzoate is used by those who are producing soft drink as what? As preservative. But there is a research ongoing that, under Sodium hydroxide has the ability to produce, to break down into aromatic benzene. And this aromatic benzene is said to be what? Carcinogenic. Now, some of us will like to fry things at home. You fry and fry plantain, you fry yam, you fry meat. Fry has its own consequence, because when you fry and fry, I mean, at a temperature that is above 180 degrees, the first day, the second day, you are still using the same oil. You are writing letter to another chemical called acrylamide, which is said to be carcinogenic. That's why each time we go to a noodles company, we want to see evidence that they are changing the oil on regular basis, frying oil. Okay, pesticides and pest bait. Okay, our madam talked, briefly about this pesticide. Okay, in our farm, you want to plant your seed, you use chemical to dress the seed. Now, when the plant is growing, you go there again and spread another chemical. When you are harvesting, you are preserving it again with another chemical. Chemical plus chemical is equal to what? Chemicasis. And if you are not likely, you're most likely, when you are consuming the product, what you are getting is what? Chemicalized food. Okay, so pesticide and pest bait, toxins. She has mentioned toxins in form of aflatoxin. I know some of us will like apples everywhere. When you see apples, your eye will be blinking from side to side. Be careful when you are eating apple, because there is also a contaminant in apple, mycotoxin of apple called patulin. All right, so allergens, we have discussed allergens, so let's continue. All right, microbial contamination refers to the non-intended or accidental introduction of microbes such as bacteria, yeast, mold, fungi, virus, protozoa, or their toxins and byproducts in food. Yes, bacteria is everywhere. You know what I've just done? I released them. They are here. They are everywhere. And they love some strange places, especially places where you have, harbors death or unclean places, armpit, nose, all those areas. So yeast and mold, the secondary metabolites of yeast and mold is what we call what? Toxins. So some chemicals have what? A biological origin. It starts as biological, but the chemical that is produced is a chemical hazard. So protozoa, virus, fungi, all these constitute microbial contamination. The E. coli of this world, the Salmonella of this world, the Listeria of this world, and so on and so on and so on. All right. Okay. What is a standard? A standard is a document established by a consensus of subject matter experts and approved by a a recognized body, e.g. SON. So each time you will go out for inspection, in some companies they will say, well, yes, we can see it's a SON standard. It can never be SON standard. It will never be SON standard. It is Nigeria Industrial Standard. No SON member or staff is permitted to manufacture or produce a standard alone. We do it in conjunction with what? Stakeholders like FCCPC, okay, with NAFDAC. I know so many TC that NAFDAC officers will come in. We will have from FCCPC, we will have from FIRO, then from the academia, professors, most times are the chairman of such meeting. All right, so it's a consensus document. It must be agreed upon by all stakeholders. So for example, if we are deliberating on the standard for salt and we have agreed that the moisture content in the standard for salt must be 1% maximum, and we all agree conscientiously, we agree the SON governing body will now sign it to law. It becomes binding on all manufacturers to abide by it. So that's how standards are formulated. You know, that provide guidance on the design, safety, use, or performance of material, product, processes, services, systems, or person. Types of standard. We have product standard. Products requirement to be met to satisfy quality, e.g. NISCN. We have standard for water. We have standard for drinking water quality. That's the water you use as raw material in industries. We have standard for tomato. We have standard for kuli-kuli. We have standard for palm oil. We have standard for vegetable oil. We have standard for gari. We have standard for, we have standard for bread. We have standard for margarine. We have standard for flour. We have standard for egusi. We have standard, food standard. As I'm talking with you now, I'm supervising a colleague who is working on the standard for what? For both dried mango, and pineapple that you see in the supermarket, dried and packaged. We're already working on the standard. We have standard for rice. We have standard for paddy rice. We have standard for ofada rice. Thank you, sir. Okay, system and service standards. That's how a system should operate. E.g. food safety standard. That's ISO 22000, 2018. We have, that's a standard, it's a system standard. Then we have code of practices. That's recommended practices, procedures, or guides, the sign, code of practices for tomato farmer. This is an example. We have code of hygienic practice for fast food. It's a code of hygienic practice. Then we also have what? Test methods. They are equally standards. Test methods for laboratory tests, for test methods. Okay? And we have standards for terminology, which is terms and definition, illustrations and notes. Okay. Continuation on standard, hierarchy of standards. Company standards. We have company standards. Some will tell you, this is our in-house standard. And sometimes in-house standards are more stringent than even Nigeria industrial standard. Okay, we have trade group, e.g. Global or Global Food Safety Initiative, Global Food Safety Initiative. Then we have national standard, which is Nigeria industrial standard, Nigeria industrial standard for gari, and this. I'm made bold to tell you that even Nigeria industrial standard for gari has been adopted by Codes. So it's now a Codes standard, an international standard. Okay, we have regional standards like ECOSTAN. This is region, ECOWAS state, ECOWAS standard. Then we have international standard, e.g. ISO and Codes. Standards are established by concessions. Okay, relevant MDAs, Federal Ministry of Health, NAFDAC, Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Services, then FMA RB. I can't remember that now, but thank you. Academia, Trade Association, MAN, AFBT, research bodies like FIRO, consumer representative, they are here, clap for them. Yeah, it's an interactive approach as used to consult scientifically. And standards form the basis for government regulations on food. Without standard, what are you going to regulate? Now, principles of standard development, principles of transparency, you must be transparent. Principle of openness, impartiality, okay? Concessions, effectiveness and relevance, and coherence. Let me also say that sometimes, if we see, for example, in Kenya, there are standards that are already established in Kenya which have been formulated and all that. And you look at Kenya, Kenya is in Africa, Nigeria is also in Africa. And you look at it, this standard, when you bring it to Nigeria, we can either what? Adopt it or adapt it. When you adopt, it means you are copying everything. You are ancestors, everything word for word. But when you adapt, it means there are some things there that you want to change, maybe because of the environment. So you can either adapt a standard or adopt it. All right. SON as a national standards body. SON is the organization most representative of standardization in Nigeria, no doubt about this. We develop standards through technical committees. We oversee, coordinate other standard development organizations, okay, mandated by our SON Act. We publish and maintain national food standard known as NIS. We represent country in regional, international standardization organizations, and we what? Adopt international standards. Okay, international standards driver and key players in the food safety. Number one, you have the coders. In fact, these coders, they have done, you know, I don't know, maybe I should, they have done a tremendous job when it comes to standard for food safety. Because if you are looking at pesticide residue, especially herbicides, they have the least of all these herbicides and the maximum residual level. They have it. They have done research on all this. So if you say, yo, you are producing apple juice and you are thinking of patulin, they already tell you, it is already stated, patulin in apple shall not be more than 50 micrograms per kg. That's per billion, I think. All right. Then, International Organization for Standardization, ISO. ISO has so many standards, including ISO 22000, 2018, which is Food Safety Management System, FSMS. Then World Trade Organization. Okay? Notable international food safety schemes. You have this, I have mentioned this. ISO 22000, 2008 specify requirement for any company within the food chain. Either you are producing kuli-kuli in one room or two rooms as approved by NAFDAC. Because if you, number one, where you want to establish your company, the first point of call is NAFDAC. They give you approval to do what? To use the environment. Approval that your formulation is okay. That's like matriculation. You are entering into the university. But as soon as you enter into the university, SON is waiting for you. Because you must what? Graduate. You must have MANCAP certification. Okay? And MANCAP certification is about what? Standard. You are meeting up with the requirement of the standard. Yes, SQF, that's Safety and Quality Food, code ED 7.2, British Retail Consortium, Food Safety Standard. This talks about legality and other requirements. Then FSSC, and I'm made bold to say that we are not just in SON, we train and certify to FSSC. When was it Tuesday now, I was on audit when I was talking with my brother here. I was auditing Wakot Rice, virtual audit, from here to Arugungu in Kebbi State. So for FSSC 22,000. Okay? Now, common framework for international food safety. Now, food safety is built on a foundation. That foundation is called the Requisite Program. Don't bother yourself about the jargon, but in case you want further training, SON has the capacity and the competency to deliver it. The Requisite programs are what? They are foundation upon which the safety of the food is built, which include good manufacturing practices, good hygienic practices, good production practices, good laboratory practices, good what again, everything good, including our pest control, including our what? Recall procedure, including our withdrawal, including training, including traceability, including what again? The environment where you are producing the food. Okay? Now, hazard analysis and critical control point. This is acid. This acid too, developed by coders with 7 principles. But I will not bore you with all the principles. The food safety policy. What's our policy? The policy is the intention of the organization as expressed by the top management. Our objectives, our documentation. There are some documents that are required for companies that wants to get certified with food safety. You must have a policy, you must have objective, you must carry out hazard analysis, you must conduct internal audit, you must do management review. Yes, training, very, very key. So, you see the foundation now. The foundation is what? Prerequisite program, good manufacturing practice, good hygienic practice, good production service, good warehouse practice, all the good. Okay, ASIP is a management system in which food safety is addressed through the analysis, assessment, and the control of biological, chemical, and physical hazard in food from raw material production, procurement, and handling. What does this mean? It means that the principle of ASIP stands on IEC, identification, hazard analysis. You identify, then you evaluate, and when you evaluate, you will be able to know the hazards that are significant to you. Then you look for what? The control in place. That's why when you go to some company, if there is a grinding process, which Yasikra does not have in our grinding of pepper. How many of us have visited flour mill before? Flour mills, flour mills where they mill wheat. They will always have a magnet at the end of the process. Why? Because they anticipate that, look, we are going to have iron filings as abrasion is taking place. Magnet is going to take care of it. But where a non-ferrous metal is suspected, then they have to do what? Put a metal detector at the end of the process. Okay, that's one test method. Now, you are into processes of animals, of meat, and you anticipate that bone is going to be your process. They have a control, a measure device they call the boner. Somebody said the boner. Alright, okay. Where you also anticipate that sound is going to be your problem, or stone is going to be your problem, they have what is called what? The stoner. Thank you, the stoner. Okay, alright. Okay, so these are the principles. Principle number one, you are to conduct a hazard analysis from the raw material. Time will not permit us. We would have loved to look at our gari. You know gari, we produce gari in Nigeria. I know some of us have lived in the village before. We produce gari. So the first stage in production of gari is what? Receipt of what? Cassava tubers. When you are receiving cassava tubers, what are the potential hazards? Is an agricultural product, yes or no? So you cannot run away from pesticide resistance. You cannot run away from heavy metals too, because it's coming from the soil. You cannot also run away from microbes who are saying, I will kill you. You know microbes, we always say, I will kill you. But how do you control microbes? You play with their love life. Just play with the love life. Some of them love cold environment. Subject them to it. When they love hot environment, bring them into your cold room or freezer. Then they will freeze. Alright. Okay? Or you intentionally add some what? Preservatives. But even then, the preservatives must be added in accordance with the standard. Because, yes, Madam mentioned, fortification. If you are dosing your food, vitamin A, vitamin A, vitamin A, vitamin A. Now, there is also an hazard in eating too much of vitamin A. It is called hypervitaminosis. Okay, so principle 2, determine the critical control point. What is the critical control point? It is that point that an hazard exists. But if you fail to control it at that point, it will get to your customer. So our mommy and daddy in the village, even though they did not study this, but they looked at their gari and they put a process called garification. That garification is the frying of gari. You fry it very well. And so they fry it maybe at a temperature of 100 degrees or more for what? A period of 45 minutes or 1 hour. I don't know. But that's what? Like what? Critical limit. We must fry at so-so temperature for so-so time. That's critical limit. That's critical limit. Okay? Establish monitoring procedure. Now, monitoring procedure, the standard says it must be real time and on what? On time. So if you, for us now, frying garri, we know that temperature is involved. So what equipment are you going to use to check the temperature? Huh? Thermometer. Thank you. Now follow me now. Should I go and sit down? Are you tired of me? I'm just being kind, asking you. I won't sit down yet. Okay, so thermometer. It means that we must, from our procedure, establish the frequency of monitoring. Somebody must check. Are we done? You have to evaluate. But if you don't evaluate, the possibility of releasing unsafe product is very, very high. All right. Now, establish a corrective action. What is a corrective action? Corrective action, number one, the first thing to do is correction. And what is correction? Immediate action to what? To stop a non-conformity. Our temperature is supposed to be 100, but we are getting 80. So the first thing is to do what? Boom! Jack it up to what? 100. Then, correction is not corrective action. Because, why is this thing here? Are you with me? Let me use this as an example. This thing ought not to be here. I think I'm still within the time, sir. Can I continue?
Yes.
Thank you. This is not supposed to be here. So it's a non-conformity. It's not compliance. Okay? Why is it here? So somebody called me. Hello, James. This is not supposed to be here. Why? I said, I'm sorry, sir. I picked it the first time. But if I'm not careful, the following day, this thing is going to come back here. Because I have not done what is called root cause analysis. Thank you. Root cause analysis. So root cause analysis will now help you to put in place a measure such that this does not find its way to this place again. That's what? Corrective action. So it's number one, correction. Then number two, corrective action. Then principle 6, establish verification procedure. Verification procedure is a form of checking. To check. Alright, if you are using a metal detector, for example, metal detector. Let me give you an example of Coca-Cola. Sorry, I'm mentioning their name because what they are doing is good. Okay? So, you know then, before the advent of EDI, empty bottle inspection, they use sighters. Those sighters will be looking like this as the bottles are passing on the line. Are you with me? 30 minutes, the guy is, the more you look, the thing is passing. But now they have invented what is called empty bottle inspection. All you need to do is just to, put into the bottle. I don't know how they do it, but they will just, once that bottle is keying into that equipment, any other bottle that passes through that line, it will trip it off. If it is chipped, the mouth is broken, chipped, it will take it off. If there is water inside it, it will take it off. If there is a straw inside it, it will chip it off. So the era of buying bottle of Coca-Cola, with a straw, that era is gone. All right. Verification, you are checking. For your metal detector, what do? You challenge the metal detector to say, this is what you have been asked to do. Let me take physics and see whether it is going to allow the product online or it's going to trip it off. Okay? Then establish record keeping and documentation procedure. What's a procedure? Procedure is a specified way of carrying out an activity. So if we, for example, what's the procedure for exiting this room? Some people will say, let me do it the African way. Once my back touched the wall like this, I will just evaporate from here and condense in my house. That's a procedure. Some will say, well, mine is to go through the ceiling. That's a procedure. Some will say, there are windows. Once I jump like this, just know that the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. But if we have documented that our own procedure here is to exit through the door, if you jump through the ceiling, you are Ekuma Barao. If you jump through the window, the same. If you do African magic, we will bring you back. As you go, that's how you will come back. You know, there was this guy. All right, so establish record keeping and documentation procedure. Okay, so there was this guy who went abroad to study, and everybody, you know, they expected that this young man should have graduated. So when he came back, he said, young man, you're welcome. You must have graduated. And I said, yes. What I got is BLLB. But you, I mean, you were a science student. So what happened? How come you got a degree in law? He said, BLLB is Boshelo, Loshego. As in go, now so it come back. So if you put your back on the wall and go, we will bring you back the same. All right, PRPs now. They say PRPs are basic hygienic and environmental activities or conditions that are necessary within an organization to maintain food safety. We have talked about it. So in a company that wants to, you know, have food safety, there must be a place where you can wash your hand. Before you go into the company, you have to wash your hands. Sometimes they use tap, isn't it? And the tap they use, the standard says it must not be hand operated. Because when you are using hand operated, before you wash your hand, you put the bacteria on the tap. When you now wash your hand, you pick up your bacteria again and walk into the production hall. They say it must be what? Either leg operated or shoulder operated. So these are prerequisite programs, and there is a document for prerequisite program, ISO TS, technical specification. 22,002, part 1, 2009, for those who are producing food. There are others for other sectors, but that's the requirement. GMP, good manufacturing practice. GHP, good hygienic practice. Good agricultural practice. Good veterinary practice. Good distribution practice. Good trading practice. Yes, and note, it is called a prerequisite because it is considered by scientific experts to be prerequisite, something you do before a HACCP plan. Example of common prerequisite program is what? Sanitary facilities. Now, in companies, who will determine the number of toilets per workers? That's the Ministry of Labor and Productivity. They tell you the number of workers to a toilet. I think 4 to 1 toilet. In some company, it's possible to have 100 staff to 4 toilets. You are writing letter to trouble. Yes. Cleaning in place, cleaning of the environment. There was a company I was auditing, I won't mention the name. So they have a checklist for cleaning. Are you with me? Should I go and sit down? They have a checklist for cleaning. So at every 2 hours, you know. So I was auditing them by, you know, around 12 o'clock. I discovered that the cleaning that is to be done by 2 o'clock, by 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock has already been ticked by the cleaner. So we are in 12 o'clock, but the guy has gone far. Yeah? All right. Suitable equipment. Some equipment are made of cast iron. Some stainless steel. If you have equipment that is made of cast iron, you are going to be struggling with some heavy metals. Okay? Personal hygiene. Some staff will come to the production. 3 weeks they are not showered. And when they are coming, you know what is coming from their bodies. Scent Rebecca and scent. You don't need what is happening. So training, you need to train. The record keeping, supplier control, the pest control. Pest control. This aspect, pest control, is very, very vital. Why? Because Whatever is good for you is also good for reptiles. It's also good for, yes, for rats. They also want to eat part of your product. So you have to do what? The standard says pest control must be managed by somebody that has a training, who has been trained. And the list of chemicals used, the concentration. Nobody is permitted to just come into your factory and use any chemical anyhow. You must, number one, that chemical must be approved and registered by NAFDAC. Whatever can kill a rat can also kill a man. It is only a matter of concentration. All right, thank you. Okay, this is critical control. Of course, I gave you an example which is in the front of our gari, where we have temperature time. This is an example. So critical points can be set for purchasing. We are not going to, in this company, we have what? A stringent measure. We want to get our cassava tubers, but hydrogen cyanide. You know hydrogen cyanide is also a chemical hazard. Hydrogen cyanide must be what? Nailed. Yes. Nailed. So if your own cassava has a level of hydrogen cyanide, we say hello, as you bring them come, carry and go. As in so receiving, cooking, cooling and reheating. Okay? Benefit of standards, standard implementation in the food value chain. Food standards give confidence to consumer in the safety and quality and authenticity of what they eat. I know some people are finding it a bit difficult to, differentiate between quality and safety. If it is not going to harm somebody, then it is not a safety issue. For example, there's a bottle of Eva water. Are you with me? Bottle of Eva water. What is half filled? What is declared on the body is 75 cl, but it's half filled. Is that a quality issue or a food safety issue? It's a quality issue. But if you have established that there is, E. coli or pesticides that will cause harm, then it is no longer a quality issue, but a safety issue. That's the difference. Color sometimes too. Color is a quality issue. But if you tell me my color of my water should be what? Colorless. Colorless. Yes, colorless. But if I decide I can have a coloring, as long as that coloring, as long as that coloring does not impact on the safety. And when I take it, it's okay. But for quality, it is not maintaining quality. But for safety, we must establish that it is capable of causing harm. Okay? Quality and what? Authenticity of what they eat. Okay? SON is the coldest contact point of Nigeria and a member of ISO, International Organization for Standardization. It is not International Standard Organization. It is International Organization for Standardization. SOM publishes hundreds of standards yearly for food products. I have mentioned a few. Okay? The sole aim of food standard is to ensure that food products made in Nigeria are saved and to relevant markets. Now, to address consumer increasing concerns about food-related risks, including health hazard due to microorganisms, pesticide residues, other contaminants, and unsafe food additives, Nigerian industrial standards have sections that specify minimum or maximum limit for this. If you pick a standard for food product in SON, all this, they are what? They are handled. They are indicated. This is it. Pesticide, this level. Vitamin A, this level. Okay? Certification to ISO and FSSC is possible because SON is a member body of ISO and participate in the elaboration of this standard. Note, safety implies fit for human consumption without causing harm, either to humans or to the environment. To ensure health and safety of the consumer. is a statement captured in every Nigerian industrial standard for food. Once you pick out a standard, you know, Nigerian industrial standard is not SOL standard. You see, to ensure health and safety of the consumer. Standard enhances food safety. What are we going to do? Let us join hands in contributing to Nigerian standards development. Embrace and spread the word about food safety culture and standard. Ladies and gentlemen, at this juncture, I like to hand over the microphone to the... You are not clapping. Please clap. Thank you.
That was an informative yet entertaining segment, true or false? When Mr. James was talking, he said something about frying, and I remembered Mama Busola on my street, where I buy akara. Because she fries both akara, plantain, yam, potato, and she carries it over. Fish. So you must like fish a lot. And he said something about, you know, too much sweet things. A lot of us here have diabetes. And it is on the increase. Mrs. Brahma, most times, I'm sure you call your husband honey, right? What do you call your husband? Sugar. Some of you, sweetie. You know, you're storing in so many diabetes. Honey, sugar. From now, Daddy has told us this thing is getting too much. If you see your husband now, your wife starts agbo, bitter cola, lomo, so that we can ease all of that. Thank you very much. We're moving straight to the next talk, and that is from NAFDAC representative. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the NAFDAC presentation is going to be done by none other than the Assistant Director of Food Safety and Applied Nutrition. Please put your hands together as I make welcome Makonju Olajumoke Omotola.
Hello everyone. My name is Makonju Olajumoke. I'm here for NAFDAC. I want to especially acknowledge Madam Dominica Odebuni. Madam, you are too wonderful. And the organizers, please, I have a word for you. When you approached NAFDAC on this program, I was thinking this all would be so filled up. But it's so unfortunate that I see very few people. Food business, as in food safety, is everyone's business. The woman roasting corn on the street should be here. The hoteliers, everyone, as in, maybe you need to improve on the publicity. Please, I advise you. And for us that we should not despise the little beginning. I hope by next year you are still going to continue in this business, and we pray that it will be better. I'm here with my colleagues because NAFDAC is a very serious organization when it comes to food safety. I have so many of my colleagues here. We thought that we have a handful of people here that will be able to tell them and educate them on what NAFDAC does on food safety. Please, NAFDAC staff here, please, can you stand up for recognition? Here, my topic for today's Food Safety Summit is good hygiene practice, good management practice, food establishment. I also want to acknowledge the hilarious session we had with SOL brother here. It was quite educative. Welcome, brother. And I'm going to leverage on the baseline information that my other colleague from FCCPC and SOL have started on. Is the
all the space and to lend them. Don't worry, you can see, look at the comment. How many people left? You think just one person left. You look at where they are.
To inform you what NAFDAC mandate is. Hello? We have a mandate to regulate and control the manufacture, importation, exportation, distribution, advertisement, sales and use of food, drug, cosmetics, chemicals, detergents, medical devices to package water. The reason why I have this, and other people talk, and that's a mandate. We have a very big scope to in NAFDAC. I was really impressed. Every speaker that has spoken today, they made mention of in a very wide scope. What we do, why regulate? Why do we need to regulate? To ensure access to quality, safe, effective, and also regulated products. What we call regulated products are what I mentioned in the previous slide. I have big, I don't believe that we should do too much of literature. Let's try to ease off and see and display what food safety is all about. Oh, please, operator here. We've had some terms mentioned in the previous lecture. We have the terms and definitions that we'll be dealing with in this my talk, the presentation. We have food business operators, FBOs. When you talk of FBOs, it means the natural and legal person responsible for ensuring that the requirements of law and food safety related legislation are fulfilled with the food business establishment. As in the person responsible for any business operation is called FBO. Then what is hygiene? Hygiene refers to the set of practices associated with the preservation of health and healthy living and preventing diseases. It still continues. What is food safety? We'll be talking of food safety all the while. Let's try to understand the context of food safety. Assurance that the food will not cause harm to the consumer when it is prepared and or eaten according to its intended use. Contaminants, any biological or chemical agent, foreign matter or substance not intentionally added to food. At times, some stuff can be added intentionally. That means it's not a contaminant. That's when you have food fraud, and which may compromise food safety or suitability. Contamination, that's the process now. The introduction or occurrence of a contaminant in a food or food environment, not necessarily on that food. Even if you have it in the environment, it's still going to cause contamination. Then the topic of this presentation now, good hygiene practice, as a short form GHP. The previous speaker, they mentioned GHP, but I want to delve on it more for you to understand what GHP inquire. As an area examined under GHP, when we talk of good hygiene practice, we all cook food in our homes. The way you make your kitchen to be safe, that any food that is being prepared in the kitchen will be safe for the next person to eat. Definitely in this topic now, you are going to be served food which you don't know who cooked. But for the food safety assurance that you are sure that it must be from a reliable vendor, that what you are eating is safe. Every home should make sure that they have a hygienic kitchen, that anything that you prepare there is safe for human consumption. So the major area that you deal with in GHP, we are not going to talk in the context of an organization. I want everybody to open a mind to really go as low as your kitchen, what you cook in your kitchen. the primary production. When you talk about the primary production, it has to come from the farm. Every food we eat starts with a raw material and it starts from the farm. We just add farm to fork, farm to table or wherever. Every of the food we eat, either processed or processed, it comes from farm. And animal husbandry, we have in the sea, in all those cattle and all the light animal source of food. Your establishment, all these are listed here. We are going to really discuss about them so that you know that good hygiene practice is everyone's business and we must be responsible for it. Control of operation, maintenance and sanitation. Personal hygiene, transportation, product information, and consumer awareness and training. Those are the steps we need to be cognizant of in good hygiene practice. Talking about primary production, which we said is from farm. Joy of food starts from the farm, sea and butcher house. It is the duty of farmers, food handlers to maintain hygiene, handling, transport and storage of the food. Good agricultural practice must be maintained. My brother from SON made mention of GAP, which is the bedrock of GHP. All food start from the farm. Controlling the production so that the contamination of crop, proliferation of pests and disease of animal and plants do not compromise food safety. I'm trying to explain the steps of good hygiene. Your establishment, design and facility. Working with NAFDAC, I think this is my 22 years in NAFDAC. What we do in NAFDAC, we register products, but the facility of where the product is being produced is of a great importance. You have to produce a product in a safe environment before it can be good for human consumption. The structure and the location of the process plant needs to be considered in relation to the nature of operation carried out in the plant. You cannot, when we do inspection in NAFDAC, we try to see your layout. The way you enter and how you go in. The flow of your process must be considered. Your design must be in tune with what you produce. Not that what you've left behind in your store, after production, you are still picking it up after the product has been packaged. You can do all the lines of production is very, very important and you must flow with the production layout. Food premises should be designed to minimize possibility of contamination of commodity. Design and layout should permit maintenance, cleaning and disinfection of the site. Not that, we always make it mandatory, you have a self-closing net, you have this, you make sure that your system will permit maintenance, proper maintenance, so that when you are intending to maintain, you don't intentionally or unintentionally add contaminants to your product. All surfaces that come in contact with food should be non-toxic. Most of the facilities will make sure that the material they use are stainless steel because easy to maintain, non-corrosive, and it's the requirement that you use a good material for your production. Control of operation. Effective control measures should be in place to reduce the risk of contamination and maintenance of equipment. As in being a food person, as in I work with NAFDAC, when you go into any establishment, I will still get to where we talk of training. Everybody in that establishment is of great impact in their importance to have a safe product. Up to the cleaner that will clean the facility, they must be educated to know that the work they do is of high risk to the product the manufacturer intends to produce, because If they are not well trained to handle their schedule of duty well, it could be hazardous to the product. Maintenance and sanitation procedures and work instructions should exist to demonstrate an adequate level of maintenance of an establishment. The efficient practices for cleaning, waste management, and pest control must be followed correctly. These are procedures that must be maintained. No compromise. Any little compromise, you make your product unsafe for human consumption. And when, you know, there are times that when we cook at home, when there are health safety issues, you could easily see from your family members that, oh, could it be the food I cooked last night that caused this diarrhea or whatever, you mitigate against it. But when you are into production process, you might not have feedback easily. And people believe that, oh, I went to the supermarket, I have a beautiful packaged product. Most times, people buy packaging, not the product inside. People are so used to that, they make their labeling so beautifully made that when you see it, you're attracted to it. But what NAFDAC stands for is to make sure that all those foods you go to supermarket to obtain, we guide and we stand for you to make sure that we hold your back. As in, we are able to stand on integrity that any products being marketed in Nigeria in any supermarket are wholesome and safe for human consumption. Personal hygiene. They say charity begins at home. If a dirty human being produces a product, be rest assured that the product will not be safe for consumption. Personal cleanliness, wearing of personal protective, that's what RCL Safety Center does. They sell personal protective. I'm not marketing, but I just have to say this. Personal protective equipment, PPEs, cutting of nails, all these have been mentioned, wearing clean clothes, not wearing jewelry, because you might not know when a little bit of what you are wearing will drop into your product. So you try to mitigate against it and make sure that when you enter your facility, you, at least to your minimal level, you are able to maintain cleanliness. Hygiene practice should reduce the likelihood of introducing hazards that may be difficult or impossible to control at later stage of food chain. Example, pesticide. We just talked about good agricultural practice. So the pesticide you applied on your plants, you still find its way back into your table. Antibiotics, mycotoxin, microorganisms in food eaten raw. Everyone is going green now. We like to eat legumes and all this cabbage, which Bala might have, sprinkled to preserve the product. They make it look so attractive. They sprinkle some little pesticide or whatever on it to make it to last longer, to preserve it. When you get all those foods, what you need to do is to wash very, very well. Most times when I eat my cucumber, I make sure I peel the back. Although the back is green, it's good for your health, but you don't know the roots. These people might have taken these vegetables too. These are not cooked. They are eaten raw. So we need to be very, very careful of what we're taking. In the way of trying to eat healthy, you might be killing yourself unknowingly. So may God save us, and that's why I'm surprised that we don't have a full house. Mr. Odra, you have a lot of work to do there. Transportation. Some people believe that every food safety issue starts in the production area. No. To where it's being produced, as in the raw material, up to the finished product, how is it being disseminated. You have to be careful. The method of transportation should be such that measures are taken to prevent any contamination or deterioration of food. Products that need to be transported in a certain environment. You have your raw beef. Thank God for Lagos State, they have refrigerated vans for conveying from Abattoir around. Should be appropriately controlled. In our homes, unfortunately, we have sold unstable electricity supply all around. When you keep your food in your freezer, what method do you ensure to keep the temperature? Do you even check the temperature of your freezer? Is it up to what is required? I'm also guilty, but I'm advising. Product information and consumer awareness. This part of consumer awareness is what we are here to do, sensitization, to let people know that, open their mind to what they don't know before, so that they will be more anxious and be curious to checkmate what any food safety issue that might occur. The end product should be accompanied by adequate information to ensure that persons at the stage in the food chain will handle, store, process, and display the product safely. Unfortunately, in Africa, we don't read labels. That's what NAFDAC label guideline is paramount to what we do in NAFDAC. We make sure that every product that we assign NAFDAC registration number on, they are well labeled, not to be deceptive, so that when you see it, it's what you see is what you are taking from the label. They give you full information on what you intend to consume. It's only if you don't read to see what you want to consume. All batches of products should be easily identified by a batch. The reason why you need this is that you need to know, oh, this is production I'm doing today. Tag it up with the batch number or lot number for easy traceability. Important details such as manufacturing date, best before, method of use, storage conditions, etc. must be mentioned on the label. I can vouch for every product assigned NAFDAC number. We make sure they go through this route, and we make, before we certify them to be used outside. Straight. I'm so sorry, there's a typo error there. I corrected one. Maintaining food safety is a continual process. It doesn't end in the factory where the food is being produced. It's continuous. When you train your staff, they will know the essence of what they do, and you train them with the new trend of activity to keep up with the trend of activities internationally. Like the SON brother made mention of all those standards. When you make sure that your product is registered, you come to a regulatory body, they will be able to educate you on the new trend of activities to keep up. So many of us now, we are into micro-scale production. We wish to export our products. In this regard, NAFDAC will give you information of the country you are about to export your product to, what their guidelines and their rules are as regards the product you want to export. When you come to, like what we are doing now is a form of training. We educate you on how to do it better, and you make sure you cascade it down to your staff. All food handlers should be trained in personal hygiene. There could be so many disgruntled staff that will, whatever you tell them, they don't want to do. But you try to make them know that, yes, you might be careless with this process. It might be your cousin that you like most that will consume the product you are producing. They will be afraid and want to do it well. Food handlers should be supervised by a trained supervisor. So many people believe that, is it not food I'm producing? But there are lots of risks involved in food production. You should open their mind to know that the risk attached to the particular food they are producing. FBOs, we told you what FBO is, food business operator, to make sure that all the employers who are handling food have been trained to ensure food safety. It's still the same thing. Then to continue on good hygiene practice for food processing plants or large-scale catering services. Where food, I hope I'm not boring you, after this lecture, I think it's lunch time. Alright. For food processing plants or landscape catering services, where food production chains are more complicated, that's where we have ASIP. The SON man has already discuss what hazard analysis critical control point. That's when you have a larger scale of production. You check the critical control points and you mitigate against it. You try to identify it and work on that. ACID is a scientific and systematic approach to identify, assess and control hazards in food production process for purchasing, receiving, transportation, storage, preparation, handling and cooking to serve. That means it covers across all the production process. I think the lady from FCCPC delved a little bit on this, but I'm going to explain more. 5 keys to food safety. This is an international topic. Keep clean. Starting from the farm where you get your raw material. Sanitation starts from there. Separate raw and cook. Unfortunately, we are not able to view that video. Would have been Mr. Oja, can we still get the video on? Alright. You separate raw and cooked. From this context, all these eateries, they have their fresh vegetables, plants, as in meat and eggs and all those stuff. They are raw materials. When you keep a raw meat close to a vegetable that is not going to be cooked before you eat it, you have already started implementing food safety issue. Cook thoroughly. Make sure it gets to the level that the pathogens are gotten rid of. Keep food at a safe temperature. I've spoken about that earlier. Use safe water and raw material. At times, it might not be your processing it could be the water you use that introduce this hazard into your product. So we must make sure that we use the safe water, potable water, and your raw materials must be safe. Those are the 5 keys of food safety. Now to go back, we have GHP and GAP. Now to discuss what good manufacturing practice is. Good manufacturing practice address the hazard associated with personnel and environment during food production. The role of GMP in food industry success is critical. Any company that is not able to maintain a good manufacturing practice, NAFDAC will not certify. This is a baseline on our certification. Inspection is key. Although we do testing to check what your product is, but when we are able to ascertain that your production process is okay, at least a little worry. The role of GMP in food industry success is critical. The key food and beverages company maintain food safety and quality while increasing productivity. At the end of the day, all what we want to achieve is money, for you to be able to sell your product. And if your product is not safe and is being kept under consistency, as if you are not keeping the consistency, there's no how people will get to know that you have a bad product and you lose money. So many multinationals, they've been closed down or issued fine or being sued because they compromise their good manufacturing practice. Now we have economic downturn. People are trying to cut corners. We will have more of food safety issues. God forbid we are just sailing out of COVID-19. We don't want to encounter any epidemic. So this food safety summit should have been a great phenomenon, as in for people to be here to listen. And when you hear, there's no how you continue to hear that this is what you should do right. It will be part of you sooner or later. Please, Mr. Oja, more publicity. Let me go to the next slide. I'm still talking about the GMP here. Their goal is to maintain the integrity of products. When you compromise the integrity of your products, you are deviated. With sound operating procedure, ensure the highest standards are met through. We now talked of the standard. NAFDAC work with SON standard, National Industrial Standard. He said we should not call it SON standard, it's National Industrial Standard. Nigeria Industrial Standard. Yeah, we use that as a guideline to set limits for what is expected of any product. By following GMP, food industry professionals can expect to mitigate contaminants. If you're able to get rid of your pathogens and contaminants, you are good to go. Testing failure, problems caused by environmental factor and potential harmful deviation. We have 5 components of good manufacturing practice. There is always a guide to what you do. When you are talking of GMP, these are the basic guides to use. When we talk of people, is human being involved in the production? The premises, the layout of your premises, the machine and the lights you have there, you must make sure that the contamination is not coming from your machine, your equipment. Even at our kitchen, we make sure that the pot we are using is safe. Process, as in you get through your process, make sure that they are going to give you a good manufacturing practice, your product, the primary material and your procedure. When you are talking, the SON man talked about the procedure and I was happy with the way he explained it. What the examples of good manufacturing practice, essential source of contamination? A thorough maintenance schedule of equipment and facility, introducing preventive activities. Detailed job description, not a cleaner doing another person or the production manager is not around. Please stand in for the production manager. It's not allowed because the production manager must have been trained to do what he does. So somebody else standing in for another person is not allowed if you want to achieve good manufacturing practice. And clearly define employees' roles. It must be whenever an employee declares that he's not feeling well, be ready to excuse the employee. Let them go. You might not produce that day. It will not kill you. Make sure that a system for investigating and addressing complaints and following through to resolution must be achieved to have a good manufacturing practice. I don't know if we have any food business operator in the house. Do we have at all, Ms. Aldra? Okay. So a clear documentation strategy. When you come to NAFDAC, we have a whole lot of guidelines. The reason why, although so many people say, oh, NAFDAC will give, there's so much bottleneck coming to NAFDAC, this and that. We have a reason for setting out all those guidelines. Is to help you check all these processes. So that when we ask you for food handler test, you make sure that all the staff are safe to handle what they do. There are some parameters we check out for in your food handler test. We make sure that they are safe. They are not going to be the source of contamination to the products they are producing. We make sure that we inspect your facility. Although clients could be so stubborn, they want to bend on rules, but that's why they say NAFDAC is tough and they try to shy away. But God help us, that's just the best way to go. You just have to comply to our directives. Key messages from all what I've said all this while. Good manufacturing practice are the basis of the production and preparation of safe food. Good hygiene practice deal with safety and suitability requirements to be followed worldwide. Both GMP and GHP are prerequisite programs. Prerequisite programs are what you must make sure you adhere with and are interconnected. One go into the other. These are practices that must be in place before HACCP. HACCP is a bit of a complex system, but it's still achievable. So internationally, before you can trade your products internationally, HACCP is a critical parameter that must be followed in a plant before the product is acceptable as is known and is able to be marketed internationally. Food operators should also decide which practices are critical for the safety of the product. If I'm producing potable water, the kind of issues I should be looking towards to mitigate is different from the person packing granules or gari. You know what the problem is. You try to determine what could be the problem at your facility and you try to mitigate against it. I added this into the slide because so many people, when you go into a supermarket, for you to really know that a product is registered by NAFDAC, these are the requirements we look out for on a label. Name of the product must be conspicuous. We don't allow them to hide the name of the product. In case of any issue, you pick the name. Net weight and volume, batch number, production or manufacturing dates, best before expiry, production for NAFDAC registration number. Don't buy any product that does not have NAFDAC registration number. Please, safety begins from there. Don't purchase any product without NAFDAC registration number. Allergy caution. This is a trending issue. People are falling sick because of allergies. Check out we make it mandatory now on every product that has the potential to have allergy in it. There must be declaration of the allergy caution on the label. The address of manufacturer. This is so essential for traceability. We know where to now, when there are issues, dispose properly signed. That dustbin logo must be on the label, the storage condition. Depending on the nature, keep refrigerated, keep dry, and all the rest must be on the label. Conclusion. Establishing, implementing and routine performing GMP is an extensive undertaking, but very, very essential. Yet, it's among the most important things any food and beverage facility can do to ensure safe, consistent products and compliance. It's more expensive for you to have a product that is bad. At the end of the day, you lose your credibility, you lose money, you lose your customer. At the end of the day, most times when I go for inspection, I tell them that this is your own ministry. Whatever you're able to do here, you'll be judged at the end of time. Manufacturers might be doing what NAFDAC is not even able to identify. Maybe we see a perfect facility. When we go back, we leave you with your faith. Whatever you do, at the end of the day, you will be judged. Yes, we might want to make money, but not at the detriment of people's life. By adhering to their components, you can ensure every aspect of your manufacturing process is designed to mitigate food safety events. Prevention is better than cure. Note, information is key. Educate yourself, read, and read. We have our regulations posted at the website we have guidelines www.nafdac.gov.ag. With these few words of mine, I hope you have agreed with me that NAFDAC is the best organization.
Once again, a round of applause for her. So before lunch, we're going to be taking questions and answers. So our speakers will come sit, and then if you have questions, yes, okay. Once the video is ready, we'll also play that. So if you have questions, feel free to bring that. So while Madam from NAFDAC was talking, I remembered one of my Igbo brothers was asked, they asked him, what is the thing in the Bible you don't like? Apparently this gentleman was in awe, and he said he felt disappointed with Lot. I don't know if you know the story of Lot. We're not like, why did you feel disappointed? He said Lot messed up one day. If he was Lot, when God said we should come out for Sodom and Gomorrah, that as he was going, as he was learning, as Lot was learning, immediately Lot noticed that the wife has turned to salt. If it was him, what he would just do? God said, don't look back. Just learn back. Look at your wife. Touch it. Test it. It will be quality salt. Send it to NAFDAC for approval. You know, would have just done that. So, ma, in case my wife turns to salt, kindly approve. Once I test it, you know. So we'll be having questions and answers segment now before lunch.
Maybe it's a question or a comment, somewhere in between, yeah. I think one of the major problems we have in Nigeria, because each time I try to see the connect between the standards, the regulation, and what obtains. And I ask myself, who is really responsible for this? Because the standards are there, but what we see in practice is like a white crowd from what the standard is saying. I give an example. Palm oil. Palm oil is one product that I never really understand what to look for when I'm buying. You see some very red, and you're told there's color added. Who's responsible for that? Is it NAFDAC? Yes, so why do we keep having that? The common one is vegetable. Carrots. You buy carrots now. Before it's evening, it's melted. Who's responsible for that?
Yes, that's what I said.
It melts. Okay, so now the standards are there. I've heard it again. We regulate vegetable, we know about curry, we do. And so why do we keep having this? So what's the problem?
We cannot, because of the economic issue, people do fraudulent things. They try to cut corners, and there's food fraud all over. It's international. Everywhere in the world there could be food fraud. People try to make the palm oil red by adding some kind of azodine, because they believe when it looks so attractive, people want to buy and believe that it's safe and it's good. You know, just looking at it, you are attracted to buy. But we make sure that every of the products in supermarket that is registered by NAFDAC, we subject them to analysis. We make sure they're safe, we do routine, but at the same time, we all should be involved in this. You should help NAFDAC. When you see stuff like that, please walk up. We have consumer complaint, FCCPC is there. You complain. When we get hold of them, they will be the scapegoats for others to desist from those acts. Now we know what the economy is in town. People will always want to cut corners. As for the vegetable you talked about, it could be the storage condition that is not proper. We talked about food safety. It's from the farm to the table or fork, as we call it now. If at any point of the production process of the ground, if it's not being maintained accordingly and it's being compromised, we are bound to see the product not meeting the integrity of what is expected. So, you make mention of what again? Is it Gary? Gary, we try our best to check Gary that the most critical parameters that we look out for in Gary is cyanide, and it gets into the product through production process. If it's not well dried, or the species of the cassava could introduce that, and cyanide in Gary could lead to cancer. We are what we eat. Some people could do away with junk if they eat right. So we all in here, please help NAFDAC to do our work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. So that's for us by us. So before we take further questions, we would want our speakers, Mr. James, Mrs. Barrymore, and Mrs. Malcolm, please come. Please, let's have you on. Permit me to use the word the hot seat.
Thank you very much to all our speakers for wonderful presentations. It was top-notch, detailed. My name is Emmanuel Abaiwa from World Safety Organization, Nigeria. I have a question. I don't know whether there's anybody from customs here. I know part of their contraband products include foods. Now, this is the challenge. We see them on TV, customs come out, okay, they've been able to prevent this from entering the countries and the rest. We know there are illegal imports of foods and things like that. This is my question. All those food that they constrict, how are they managed? Are they handled as waste? Is there a way NAFDAC and SON and also your organization interfere in the affairs of customs to make sure that these regulations are effective? I don't know whether...
So we don't have customs here, but with the little, as in when we seize products in NAFDAC, we check.
No, I mean their own products.
For example, there are some maybe say bags of rice that was seized by customs. Is there a synergy within NAFDAC?
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
Mr. Everyone, standing on the existing protocol. Your question, sir. NAFDAC and customs collaborate. It's part of our functions. And when they seize most of this contraband, first of all, is taken to our office at Oshodi laboratory to check the wholesomeness. And at the same time, most of the time, you'll find out that those products will be failing because of the storage system, because they're not really, they want to cut corners. So in one way or the other, the microbial activities have reduced. And you will see us collaborating and burning the products. It doesn't go back to the market, neither it will go back to the importer. So that's what I can say on that. Thank you very much.
My question goes this way. What role are the regulatory bodies doing to sensitize the common market women in terms of what they sell? What measures do you have on ground?
Hello. NAFDAC has taken it upon itself to, lately about 4 years ago, we created Lagos State Office just to cater for micro-scale businesses. We go into market to sensitize. We do sensitization. We go in open market talk. We do that almost like every 2 months. We engage them. We engage stakeholders. We've been able to, now we have 6 geopolitical zones, as in we've been able to streamline our requirements, so that all these market women, instead of having your products, just put, you keep your gari openly and sell in the open market. Most of them, they are trying to pack it now. They are into packaging. Those frying, chin-chin and the likes, we register them in NAFDAC. We streamline our guidelines to make it easy for you to come up. We do inspection of kitchens. We register products as low as your chin-chin that you produce in your kitchen, we do it. We give you number. You not gone are the days that you want your clients to come to you. We are the one going to our clients because we want them to understand what we do and reduce our guidelines to the minimum, but we don't compromise quality and safety. We don't compromise it. We don't compromise it. No matter how low we might go, we still make sure that the integrity of the product is not underplayed. Thank you.
For FCCPC, we have the education department. We visit the markets. We enlighten them and sensitize them on best practices of food safety. Also, just as I said, when we visit these markets, when we see some practices that are unwholesome or some practices that are shady, sometimes we can't talk to all the market women. Sometimes we tell the market heads, we gather them, tell them this is what we've seen, this is what we don't want, Then we give them time to talk to their people because they listen to them, this market people. Because if you don't go through them, sometimes it's always difficult. So they call them, talk to them. If they don't follow, some of them they penalize them, or sometimes we tell them to pack their things from that room. So we do follow up to go back and check if these things we've complained about have been done. I don't know if my boss have something else to add.
We all have a role to play. Yes, for SON, we have 3 state offices in Lagos, and we are almost all the we have a state office in almost all the states in the Federation. So it's our responsibility to organize stakeholders meeting. But we are not there yet. Why I'm saying we are not there yet, because it's a collective responsibility, private, public partnership. Mass media is there. If what we have done today is on radio and or television, and we're able to reach, we will be able to reach millions of people. But to be on the television takes millions of naira. It is easy to come out and say, what is NAFDAC doing? What is SON doing? What is the FFA? It takes money to be there. Money. So there's another in Yoruba that says, sorry, I will interpret it. Oh, Sagilogbe, oh, Tobrolofa, oh, Agbenusidi Ope, Ope Koloro. You did not make incision on palm tree. You don't know how to attack the calabash with catapult, and you open your mouth thinking that palm wine will flow. It doesn't flow for free. It's our responsibility. We must do it together. It's not only SON, NAFDAC, consumer, whatever. We must work together, and I'm happy with what I have seen today. If what we are, because I understand before how the rivalry between, hey, we are the one, we are here, but now look at us sitting together. This is our role in food safety. This is how to go about it. So we want to sensitize market women. We do go there, we take samples of the product, we test, we talk to them, but it's not enough. We can do better. With your cooperation, we can do better.
Thank you very much. So another question from Madam. Okay, yes.
When you get to the market, how do you identify a good vegetable, a good gari that is well planted? Then the second question I would like to ask, I wouldn't know whether you people go to places like Mount 12, Agege Market. It's an hygiene market. But the people in Lagos State, they don't have a choice to patronize that market because 80% of the food brought from the north is either in Agege Market or my 12 market. But when you get there, it's so unhygiene, so unbearable, obnoxious smell, but you still don't have a choice than to patronize them. What do you people do?
When issues come like this, these are the bodies that you see. where is the Ministry of Health? Both at the federal and at the state level and at the local government level. We are not the wole sanitary officer. It is the responsibility of those officers to go in and ensure hygiene in the marketplace. So if we are talking about products that are packaged, products that are registered, products that are, that's when you bring in NAFDAC and SON. But yam laid on the street, that should be the responsibility of the Ministry of Agriculture and Ministry of local government. But if they fold their hand, how many, madam, I'm sorry, how many staff do you have nationwide? For us, we are less than 3,000. 3,000 divided by 36. How many markets can we possibly visit? But if the local government is involved, if the state is involved, then we will be able to get there in a short distance. But if anything that happened in Nigeria, what is NAFDAC doing? What is SON doing? Where is federal competition and consumer? Please, we cannot do and we will not be able to do everything. But as for packaged product, if you give me a product, I see the name and the address of the manufacturer or packer, madam, leave the rest. You are talking about color of palm oil. Yes, if you buy from the market women, the oil that is not traceable anywhere, you bring it to us. We want to test, we want to take action. Where are we going to trace it to? No company, no manufacturing date, no best before date, nothing. So where are we going to trace it to? Nowhere. But where you give me a packaged product and you say this is the issue that you have, we bring them to the office. And when they come, madam, we know what to do.
Hello, I want to inform the house, we have a limitation. We work under an act that streamline our scope of duty. We cannot go beyond that. It's so unfortunate that people believe, oh, when there is any food safety issue, NAFDAC, they are not doing their work. You don't even know, maybe it's not covered by NAFDAC. Please, our local governments, they should be, they are the sanitary officers that should be responsible for monitoring all these open markets. There's nothing NAFDAC can do. We can be sued. We go to court for litigations. So we don't go beyond the scope of duty. It's not within our purview. That's just a little.
What I'll just add is that in the open market, what we do have FCCPC is just awareness, enlightenment. But you know our people, our traders, they're always very difficult. But we keep on doing the education, the enlightenment and everything. I pray the change. That's what I see. That's what I'm saying.
Pharmacy. You go to the supermarket, you see a lot of product out there, processed products, packaged products, apparently not that numbers. Sometimes this year I had a friend who bought in from the supermarket, took it, and had food poisoning. A lot of people claim that they have this NAFDAC number. And I understand that, I know that it's actually difficult, it takes a lot to get these numbers. So my question is, for we end users, is there a way we can actually verify if the product NAFDAC number is actually valid? Because some are just slapping something and say it's my NAFDAC number. I don't really know if this is good. I would just suggest it.
Thank you, madam. You see the relationship that we are enjoying now. Okay? The fact that NAFDAC has given a registration number does not mean, and it does not translate to the fact that a company will produce 100% safe product. Quote me anywhere. But where you have a complaint, you are free to bring it to NAFDAC to investigate and follow to the route. To verify number. Oh yeah, fantastic. If sorry, you want to?
Yeah.
There's a way to.
Like I showed in my slide, the criteria we always make sure is mandatory for every product registered by NAFDAC. Whenever I enter any supermarket, I can easily identify a product that is not registered. There's no how they will not meet up all the labeling requirements. They might just write a number to deceive consumers that is registered. But when I see it, I pick it out. And hold on. That is why we say you people should help NAFDAC to do the work better. When you see stuff like that, nation as in worldwide, there are people that are terrible that you cannot beat with their sharp practices. We have more as in big companies still trying to cut corners to make gain. You understand? There are food fraud everywhere all over the world, not only in Nigeria. People will always, they could make products for their selfish interests and the gains. But when you see, we have consumer affairs in NAFDAC, when you have that, and we do post-market surveillance, we still go around to pick, but the market is wide enough for people to do whatever they want to do. But you and I should be able to help NAFDAC to do the work better, please.
Okay, ma'am, maybe before the next question, let me just throw more light. For example, some of these medical products, I buy a malaria drug, I can scratch it,
How many
check.
companies can afford that?
And what we're saying now is, so for NAFDAC, for example, maybe I get into a supermarket and I'm suspecting this cashew nut I bought. Maybe like a very swift way of possibly, okay, they wrote NAFDAC number out here, very swift way of checking, authenticating, so that I can report to you that this thing looks fake.
You meet the manager of that supermarket. Because we make it mandatory, yes ma'am, we make it, not all can afford the scratch card because it's an added cost. How much do you want to sell cashew nut that you do? Oh, what? Every of the supermarket managers, we make it mandatory before they have products in their store, there must be NAFDAC certificate shown before they supply them. That's what I was about to say. Every of the supermarket manager, because we do post-market surveillance, any product they have on their store must be NAFDAC certified, not a fake or adulterated product. We make sure that all products distributed, we monitor supermarkets.
So do they verify certification of the company producing it?
They must definitely, they must show them their certificates, NAFDAC certificates.
How do they know it's original certificate? Those people in mind, how do they know?
You can't beat a fraudulent person, please.
That's the responsibility of
we monitor, but there could still be sharp practices.
So this gentleman has been
accredited.
Before I ask my question, I'd like to ask, like what they were saying about the NAFDAC number. Is there like a code, like that the NAFDAC number, the 0124? Is it something that is in the public knowledge that we can know that if we see something like 0124, it's talking about maybe products in the food, this one products in maybe sanitary or something. I'm just saying, maybe the code connotes something. I don't know if that makes sense. And then my second question goes to the FCCP, Mrs. Bremer. The question is, now there is so much going on in the economy and so many companies are trying to cut corners. Now, how do you protect us as consumers, or how do we protect the consumers in terms of food quantity or quality? Let me say that. Now, what I mean is, for example, I want to buy a packet of noodles. It is written there 80 grams, but then if we check, it might not be 80 grams because we know that they are because the prices are increasing, and then we begin to see that but this thing is reducing. Again, another thing is probably there were things that they used to add before, because I remember when years back, if you cook 2 packets of noodles, you should be fine. But now you cook 4, you are still like, okay, is there something going on? So what are you doing on part of protecting the consumers in that area? Because we are talking about food, I'll just limit it to food because I'm looking at DSTV, a lot of things that people are actually, we are not protected, the consumers are not protected, but let us limit it to the food. Now, how do you protect us in that regard?
In terms of reduction in packaging, we've been doing a lot. My EBC had a meeting with most of all those manufacturers, the top head in my office, because we noticed that some products, like for example, let's say picnic, it was 400 grams, it was reduced to 380. If you notice now, it has gone back to 400 grams because we had to put them back, step in, you know. So many things are going back to how it was. So it's something, it's a process and it's on. So very soon you'll see a lot of changes because my EPC is very keen on that because we noticed that the prices are high and you reduced quantity. No, which is not acceptable. We're working on it and it is going to continue. I don't know if my boss has something.
What about some that don't have
gram?
Yes, there's some product that is stopped pushing the
Please, when you see any such products, let us know. Complain to us and we'll act on it. And any product that doesn't have gram on it, I think is substandard because NAFDAC have already given a guideline on labeling. Thank you.
Especially with Indomie. And Titus.
Do you have anything to say?
Thank you very much. Another question I think I would like to direct to Madam from NAFDAC. Now, NAFDAC is a federal government establishment. What we've seen in recent times is if it's a pandemic thing or something government wants to handle as a critical issue, you see mass media pumped into it. Still back to what you talked about. Now, we focus more on what we call safety in Nigeria. It's actually not safety. We run after things when there's already a problem. Safety actually should look into prevention. It's 90% prevention. Now, how do the government, when I mean the government now, NAFDAC, SON, and Amadam, how do you handle awareness to the public? For instance, one critical issue you spoke about during your lecture was our people don't read labels. I agree with you. Somebody is on the road, he's hungry, there's gala, he picks gala, tears it off, doesn't even know whether it's expired or not. Now, I think if we record this to the public more and more on media, the consciousness is there. Our people, our public, they are not conscious. They are not conscious about all these things. How can we look into the media aspect, awareness?
Try our best to put all NAFDAC activities open in the air. As in, we have NAFDAC and Your Health. We air every week on the TV stations. We do that. We try to inform the public of the trending issues that they should be aware of. Lately, which is not even within our public, but we believe that this is getting more too bad, that people need to be aware of. The using of skin and eyes hormone that is meant for tannery, converting it into food.
Sorry, but maybe I should frame my question.
I know what you are saying.
From the language you can understand, maybe like a drama thing.
We do. So that NAFDAC, they even speak pidgin. I was at a Lagos State office where we do sensitization. I know how many sensitization we go out there, but you know Nigeria is a large community that you can. With these few moments we spend together, I'm very sure that your mind has been open to NAFDAC functions better. We need to engage people. You can see Mr. Oja having this program. I know that it will be so dumbfounded that this all is not filled. People are not, they are just to make money and not care. They don't care. They believe that, oh, this austerity is just to put food on the table. No, they don't want to care about the safety. People don't care. Food first, not safety now. They just get something to eat. That's it. People will even prefer what is not labeled because it's cheaper to consume. So we deal in the environment that is very difficult to regulate, but we try our best.
For FCCPC, we have a lot of programs also. We have talk shows, we have radio jingles in different languages, we have flyers in different languages, Pidgin, Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo. Then also our education department goes into the market to sensitize and educate consumers. Also, we do programs in radio stations. the traffic radio, that's a road safety radio. Also Barakata Family, which we go there every Thursdays. So we keep on enlightening our consumers and will improve to do more. Thank you.
The question, thank you. It's a contribution. I think a lot of things that we've spoken about and people have asked about anchors on the need for extensive collaboration. There's this natural fear of if you collaborate with this agency or this state or this local government, they would outshine. You know, there's that inherent competition. But we're talking about people's life. Let's leave those issues on maybe products that cannot affect people's life. But when you change the narrative when it comes to food, go all the way. Don't let us sit on our high horse to say we are federal. Go down to meet. I'm happy that the Safety Commission's logo is on this. I was just saying to my sister representing the DG that you should be on the hot seat yourself and you're asking questions. They should be throwing questions at you that what is the Safety Commission doing in collaborating with NAFDAC, with SON, with FCCPC? Because you are the state, you're closer to the people. How many visits have you made to NAFDAC office to say we're getting issues here and there? When next are you doing your sensitization? We want to be on it. Let's not sit back. Let's go out there. I sat here now earlier on and met with them. I got off of my seat because we're talking about food. We're talking about people's lives. And so that's what I want to encourage, that as much as they're not coming, if they're not coming, you call them as well. You call the Safety Commission, you call the Ministry of Health, you mention where they are. You cannot do it alone, it's not possible. The money is not going to be enough. You're also going to need to work with NGOs. That's true. You're going to need to work with organizations like FCCPC continuously. It's a collaboration, and we must do that collaboration if we're really serious. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So there's, I think, a question or contribution there. And
so this is just a contribution. For custom, when they catch a container on the road, they have a website or an app where they put the C number to see if it has been cleared. So I don't know if it's possible for NAFDAC to have a collaboration with an IT person where they can have an app where all these the NAFDAC numbers can be imputed. So if you're going to give power to the people to work with you, they will be able to get these numbers and check on the directory to see if it's actually valid. Because you can't, I don't know how I'm going to reach out to you to check if this number is actually valid before I buy a product. But if you guys do that, then it's possible. I can just take the number and check out that and see if it's okay. I'll buy it. So I don't know if it's possible, but I think it's something doable.
Very valid.
That is very, very valuable. If you notice the question, what are they? That you could lodge in your question and it will be dealt with. We engage our stakeholders, both local as well as we go to churches to sensitize mosques, open markets. We try our best, but it might not be enough, but we are on the way of getting it done better. And having to track NAFDAC registration number if it's right or wrong. Go to the website. We have a very robust system there. What? It's not user-friendly, so we give that report back. You will be the first person that will be hearing that from you. We give the report back. We cannot know it all, we cannot do it all. We learn more every day. We give the report back to the